Welcome back, everybody. This is Doc T. This is Dr. Deonson. We are at SHARC Doc Talk. Sometimes I forget.
Almost forgot the name
part. Anyway, welcome back. Today we're going to touch base on a few fun things we've had for the week. Do our check-ins, of course, and then shenanigans to follow. Typical role. So we'll do a quick 5-minute check-in with you. How's the
knee?
How's the knee?
The knee's actually pretty good.
I'm doing 500-pound, recovery deadlifts now.
It's only 400.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
No, but overall, it's been feeling good. I'm at the point where we're just getting out of rehab more into like the performance stuff. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm forgetting any of the rehab stuff to do, but we're transitioning some stuff over.
I don't buy that.
The squats are still not quite my friend yet, but we're still progressing. So I'm just working through it all.
Now, why do you say squats aren't your friend?
Yeah, so with a meniscus tear, whenever you load a flex knee, it's not usually fun. So just loading it back again at certain positions is sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes not. So the days that do feel pretty uncomfortable, I'm just stopping.
Do you find that like a mental part or a physical part?
A little bit of both. Yeah, I feel a lot better mentally about it now. I feel secure. Yeah, it's just sometimes the physical is like, hey, it's not going to happen today. And then I'll just pull back and work on other things.
What a concept. I like that. We'd be sarcastic, but you would be shocked what we hear in a given week. So it's like, that's just natural response.
Part of it is I want to walk.
I want to walk.
So
I want to ambulate like a human. That's it. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah. So that's where the need is.
Cool.
Yep. How's your back?
Well, it's always a fun one. It was doing really well. Mm-hmm. Came in here, did a workout, did another one at the gym. This morning I did, it's like basically a vertical pull day with some ab work. Finished with a couple like 1 minute on, 2 minute off runs. Yeah. Felt fine. Get off the treadmill, bend over, pick up my backpack.
It's the simple motions.
I just ran 9 incline, 7.5 mile an hour, sprints up a hill with no problem whatsoever. Walked, stood around, twisted, turned. I checked it. It was fine. Bent over my backpack and my 2-pound backpack. I was like, oh, that didn't feel good. And of course, because I'm curious and I'm a scientist, I checked it, reset myself, did it again, never bugged me again. Hasn't bugged me since. So anyway. So, and then, personally, we had all of our kids got a nice cold.
Oh, fun.
But in kid fashion, someday you may learn this. Out there, people who have more than one, you'll understand this. The second one doesn't get it until the first one is pretty much done.
Yeah.
And then the parent will get it pretty much when the second one's done, or the third kid, and then you'll get it, or you'll be the second. Who knows where it's going to go? So right now my daughter's battling through it a little bit.
Oh, fun.
So we're hoping my wife steers clear of it, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So other than that, that's about all going on with me this week. Nothing exciting. Oh, no, I lied. The NFL schedule was released last night.
Saw that.
I was so happy. We are going to Miami and Jacksonville in October and November, I think it is.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love it. The first time we went there was in September, and man, you don't know hot. I mean, you just don't know. And then we have a few other games. I think we got Denver in January. I think we're rocking.
That's gonna be cold.
Somebody else in December that's cold. Kansas City.
Yeah.
So the NFL in true fashion, although they did give us a 12-week bye, which is nice.
Okay.
We got 3 division games back to back to start off the season. The first one's in Brazil against KC. Second one's a Monday night game in Vegas. Third one's at home. I think a Sunday night game with Denver. Maybe just Sunday game with Denver. So I was like, boom, boom, boom.
Just division rivals.
Like, at the end of the year, think same thing.
Yep.
Like 3 of 5 weeks is all division rivals. And you're like,
when the games kind of matter.
but we got I looked at the schedule. We host Philly. We got Steelers at home. Obviously the Denver KC Raiders stuff. Who else got at home? It's tough. Dallas? No, we own Dallas. Somebody else. It's tough too coming. Oh, Houston's coming down.
Houston's
we got some
wild card.
Dude. Oh, Commanders are coming in.
Are they? Oh,
yeah, Austin Eckler, our boy from Charger, went to Washington. Nice, coming back in. But we got basically the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl champion coming in with a few other sprinkles, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a wild one. But yeah, I've been in camp for the last week, 3 weeks. Players have been excited. Everybody shows up. We got a guy from Philly, which is very interesting when we play him. 6'8", 365 pounds. Offensive guard. He is massive.
That's a big boy.
Funniest part, so when you're out there, any chiropractors, no chiropractors, we travel to events, we have a travel table. Yeah. Right? We try to get the one that holds the most but is the lightest. Mine is a 17 or 18 pound table, but its max weight is 350. So I have to bring out my other one that has a max weight of 500 because of the seasons when players we have. I was... Yeah.
That
may like 35 pounds though. Sucks carrying that.
You may not think of it as a difference, but I have one of those where you could go like 500 to 600 pounds on it. It's not light to carry around, and it's an awkward thing to carry around.
Well, so the funny thing is, I have a backpack carrier, which it does just barely wedge into, which is great, except that some teams we play, they love this. I think Atlanta's one of them. Saints are definitely one of them. You come in the tunnel, you have to walk all the way across the field to the other side to get to your locker room. Yeah. And then when you leave, same thing. This is artificial turf, so there's no rolly bag stuff that matters. It's like you're dragging a heavy pound. So, you're trucking. So you're putting 40 pounds on your back and trucking it, 150, 200 yards back and forth.
Fun. That's not fun.
I know I complain about all my, privileged people problems being the chiropractor for an NFL team. Sucks, boo-hoo. But nonetheless, that's what's going on. So that's been the week. I was excited to get the schedule. It's always fun to see where you're going to travel around to and what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. That's it. As far as the week goes with clients, our case study this week is one that's near and dear to my heart. Not volleyball, but my second favorite sport, which is rowing. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can tell by my stature, I picked volleyball and rowing, which is good thinking there, buddy. Probably should have like lacrosse or soccer, but nonetheless.
Mine was worse. I picked basketball. And
there are 5'10" guys in basketball.
Yeah, there are, but not in the pros.
There are no 5'10" guys in volleyball.
It's true.
There are none. I just watched championship on Monday night, UCLA and Long Beach.
Yeah.
Those guys are playing at a whole... Mm-hmm. I need a step ladder with a springboard on top of the step ladder. I mean, there were some shots I saw. I'm like, that guy's chest is over the net.
Mm-hmm. So he got really high.
And I think they hit the ball over him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, geez, this game has changed. But excited to watch Long Beach State. Congratulations. They took the championship 3 straight. Beat them pretty good. It was a good match. Anyway, so this week we had an interesting week. Each week we have these, it comes in 3 packages. And this week was ribs and rowers.
Yep.
So rowers out there, it will really is. They're all getting ready for 4 weeks from now. They go to the Nationals on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. A couple of them are going to Henley, going to Europe to row. So that's a big one. Yeah, one of them got two events out there. So this is one of those things that when you get in this meat of the season where they're pumping out 20,000 meters a day. Yeah, they're going to peak right now for the next week and a half, 2 weeks. And then they're going to taper it down when they get there and that kind of thing. So these little nagging injuries, ribs are very common with rowers. The reason why, simply because the nature of a row, it's not back and forth like you would in an erg. There's actually an arc to it. Mm-hmm. So one of your hands, port hand, starboard hand, is going to be arcing the row or the stick around as you're in the water. So it's called the paddle, but I call it the stick. Technically, sorry guys that rows out, it's the oar. But nonetheless, the oar is coming around. So you have inefficiencies because you have this short right side and long left side. Mm-hmm. If you're on that side of the boat, if you're on the starboard side, it's the long right side, short left side. So these little rotational angles put a lot of stress on a lot of those external obliques, lats, tibial fascia, anything that rotates the body, counter rotates the body, what have you. Mm-hmm. And the most common injury we'll see in a lot of people, especially throwing athletes and tennis players, things where your arms have to be out here to do something, volleyball players, they'll overreach. They'll just kind of disconnect their shoulder girdle from the thoracic spine and then have to use their arm and their shoulder. When you do that, you have all these muscles in your back that are in a full stretch trying to hang on for dear life. All of these muscles attached to your ribs. And then you start pulling ribs. So we had 3 come in, a little unique in each different way, which is kind of fun. All of them saw once. We got rehab going for them right now. They come back in next week. And so we got about 3 weeks to get them going. So it's been fascinating. But for rowers out there that run into this problem, because you're going to get a low back or a rib, rarely got shoulders, rarely knees, things like that, just rare things. You get them, but not often. Unlike like a power lifter, you're going to get a shoulder, a back, a knee, an ankle, a foot, a toe, a nose. Like it just, you're doing 3 different dynamic movements.
Yeah, it's definitely more shoulder, low back stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, without question.
Interesting. Yeah. So with these guys, you got the ribs, and the biggest comment I hear, like the one came in and said, "Oh, they said the rib's stuck, it's popped out, got to put it back in place." And I said, "Well, maybe, but what have you done this week, last 4 days? Because you stopped rowing, you let it rest." Mm-hmm. Very smart, by the way. Yeah. Even though they're ramping up for nationals, if you're not in the boat, what's our favorite saying? The best ability
is your availability.
Yeah, if you're not available, it doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. So they're taking time off. The parents, the kids, the coaches handle it very well. I was very, very excited about that. But she's been on the bike or she's been running. Okay. Like hill repeats, sprints, 5Ks on the bike for 10 miles, just gunning the legs, right? And I asked her, I said, "Did your heart rate get up?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, do you feel like you're breathing heavy?" She said, "Absolutely." I said, "Okay, if it was a rib that was stuck, you would be in so much pain while doing that. It's the position you get into. Mm-hmm. It's the rotation or the reach or something of that nature. That's what actually creates the pain. Yeah. So the rib's going to be fine. So I can adjust it all day long, but if I don't fix those little pieces around it that all attach to the rib." And the funny thing is, we forget sometimes that bones are no different than other tissues. They all have a wear and tear mechanism. Like a stress response or a stress fracture is usually something that's been going on. It's not a traumatic pop, snap, there it goes.
Yeah.
Do you see that one baseball player?
Yeah, Oswaldo Cabrera.
Oh my!
That one sucks. Yeah,
he just turned. I saw that replay. I'm like, whoa! He just turned to touch the base. There was no trauma.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect case. That's one of those. Was there an underlying stress response going on?
Yeah.
That you just kind of ignored to play, and then it hit that breaking point, right?
Yeah. And then there's also just sport, like with Jason Tatum.
But that one was. Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah. Oswaldo was weird, but Jason Tatum too. That one.
I didn't see that one.
He tore his Achilles. Right, just doing a random step, like with like in the Super Bowl, who tore his Achilles?
Was it Greenlaw? Was it Greenlaw?
Yeah, I think it was Greenlaw.
Greenlaw.
But they just take a step, pops. Right, you could make all the assumptions in the world
of course,
of course, but also sport.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's one of those weird.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, so the rib thing, the cautious part of this, the things that make sure you keep consideration of, which is what we like to talk about especially when it comes to kids and parents, because all these girls I'm seeing are 15, 16, 17 years old. So
transitions in life.
Yeah, they're just, I mean, they're in puberty, they're growing, they're getting stronger, they're getting their woman muscle, they're rowers, so they row 6 days a week. I mean, I've rowed, it's no joke out there for 2 hours. But it's the developmental part, but the smart part was that break, but figuring out why it's doing this. You know what I mean? I had the one girl I told you, she held the bear crawl hold for 30 seconds, which is like a test of ours. And she did fine. I was like, wait, okay, wait a second. That never happens.
Yeah.
So I give her a bird dog, simple one, and she's falling apart. And I was like, oh, there you go. It's those, you never know. She's powerful, strong, technically skilled, sound athlete.
Yeah.
She falls apart with there. So they're like, perfect, got to fix that. You fix that, the rib thing will go away, you know? So when you're out there, if you're rowers, especially rowers, you'll get this, you'll hear this, heed this. If you keep having that rib injury or that rib pain or that area in that rib cage through here bugs you, just getting adjusted is not going to address why it's going to happen. It's good. I mean, I'm a chiropractor. I love adjusting rib, popping T-spines.
They're fun.
They're great.
Yeah.
Clunk. Oh, that feels better. It's like, that's fantastic. But with sport, especially when the sport-specific type injuries like this, you really have to dig into the deep side of what's going on.
Yeah.
So one of the girls, I love talking about the nuances. One of the girls, I hit a pec minor muscle move on her. Her rotation, almost gone. Pain gone. I was like, okay.
That one's funky.
Yeah, attached to the ribs. Like everything unilaterally creates rotation in some capacity, right? Maybe not maximally, but there's some component to it all, right? It's not a separate system. They're all intertwined in weird ways. So she was fun to kind of figure out. The harder one was the last one, where like she was very strong. I'm like, okay, what did you do? So yeah, so that's what it was like. That's the ribs and rowers. So that's why you kind of got to keep, pay attention to, some of the mechanisms going on. You're obviously going to overtrain because you're hitting 20,000 miles. 20,000 miles a day is just, I mean, you're flying. Yep. Where is it? Where is it?
No, I don't even know anymore. I'm going to stop.
We'll get the next one.
You know, whatever it is.
Although that wasn't bad. 20,000 yards, or I guess you're going meters. I guess we're measuring by meters. A day, 5-6 days a week, then you're putting in some work. You know? So if something falls apart, and I explained it to them this way, I was like, why does this happen? Well, somewhere in that row, you missed something, pulled the wrong way, and then just continued to do that for the next 10,000 meters. So you're kind of building in these new bad pathways. So that's kind of where it comes from. So
yeah, definitely. And then like you were saying, we did talk about this in like other podcasts here and there. It's like, yeah, it's a sport. So you're going to be quote unquote overusing it or under preparing certain tissues to go one way.
Fatigue.
Yeah. And it's going to happen. I like how you brought up the ribs. Whenever I'm looking at rotation, I'm also thinking about how does the mid back move too? Like how is it rotating? How is it getting to certain positions? Because sometimes the ribs become a problem when the mid back can't do its job.
Something's got to move when you're trying to move.
Yeah.
If that don't move, something else is going to move.
Yeah. So the body thinks about the whole movement pattern as how do I get this done, not what do all the small individual things do.
Absolutely.
And our job is the small individual things.
Yeah. And the crazy thing with rowers, I don't know how familiar you are with them, but there is they have a good capacity for movement. Very, very anaerobic athletes, powerful athletes, right? And when they get the boat, the nuance, so when you're bringing the oar around and feathering it through the water to put it back in before you pull again, right? You get it in, you're ready to pull this oar across. You're going, okay, here we go. You go to pull. If you have a little rib injury, you're going to avoid that position, which alters your pull. Over the course of a race, that can alter the tempo of the boat too, which gets very complicated. There's 8 people in the boat. Yeah. So if one pulls a little off, because they practice 2 hours a day every day, so their rhythms together are very, very timed, right? So if you're pulling a little funky, you're pulling a little different, or you're initiating the pull a little harder on your right foot than your left foot to avoid that, just all these compensations begin to add up in the boat. And the coxswain up there, they're going to feel it. You guys have practiced enough together, so you know something's off, but you're not going to know what. Yeah. And then the rower may not even know either, because simply They're just rowing. They're doing what they've been trained to do. And then it just happens that this happened. I got a little tweak. I'm going to try to avoid that movement. And then something throws it off. So those are all little trickle-down effects, because rowing is this is why it's true to my heart.
Yeah.
8 people pulling really, really hard, really, really fast for 6 to 7 minutes straight, nonstop.
That's disgusting.
At a rhythm that has to be perfect.
Yeah.
To win. And you could lose by a ball length. And I'm talking like boat, there's a ball, there's a ball, there's a ball at the end of the boat. You could lose by a half an inch. And some of these girls have won and lost by that. But it is so, that's the thing that took me away when I watched the 8s. I was like, wow, how do you do that?
Yeah.
It is not easy at all. Wow. Not that any sport's easy, but that one caught my attention for that. Yeah. It's like
That's so
golf.
cool.
Your pinky's in a different place. You hit the ball differently. Like these little nuances.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a grip it and rip it guy.
Oh, yeah,
I love
100%.
deadlift. It doesn't really matter how I pull a bar from the ground.
Yeah.
Just pull it from the ground. Now, obviously, technique matters.
Technique matters at certain weights for sure.
Ain't going to stop me.
No, yeah, that going to grip and rip it. That's funny. That's like when a powerlifter gets kind of in their head about like, hey, am I externally rotated too much, or my feet position here, X, Y, and Z, right? Sometimes the coach will be like, just shut up.
Oh,
Grip and rip it and kind of go with it at that point.
at some time, and if you train and practiced enough, like if you're a well trained, like these rowers are well trained rowers, you're lifters, you can say to them, because it clicks, be the dumb athlete.
Yeah.
Just do what I say, grip it and rip it and go.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about it.
Yeah, because you've patterned it pretty well for the most part.
Oh my God. I look at the boats like 2.5 hours,
Yep.
20,000 meters of the same thing, the same movement over and over and over and over, just different tempos. Yeah, you practice, you're good. It's like free throws. If you have 20,000 free throws a day, 6 days a week, over 3 years, you could probably close your eyes and make 80% of them.
Yeah.
It's patterns wired in, so you're fine. That's where the pain part comes in that can tweak things.
Yeah.
So in a powerlifting setting, if you have a squat, it could shift you over a little bit, and you leak energy. And that's really the thing with endurance athletes, or any athlete actually, or every athlete.
Yeah.
When you leak energy, your performance is going to go down. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and to go back to that patterning, once you start to leak energy, you're going to load muscles that aren't ready to be loaded. They
Not like that.
They haven't done that, and that's sometimes where the injuries will happen. So sometimes we talked about the dysfunctional athlete. They've been doing that the entire time. I'm not going to mess with it until they're like completely done with their sport. Right.
I'll share. I think I shared the story before with the rower, which is a friend of mine from the past. But she rowed twos. She had to steer with her foot.
Yeah,
and then when she was finished, she wanted to go run, but now her foot kept steering her while she's running, which messed up the outside of her foot. So we had to undo decades of programming in her neurological patterning to unpattern her so she could just run.
Yeah. It gets really funky.
It's so funny, but that's how it works. So anyway, so that's it. So all my rowers out there, NEC crew, good luck to all of you out there in the 3MC. We're gonna get you patched up and get you going again and get you crushing it out there, man. I'm excited to see that. So
that definitely is fun.
Sir.
Yeah. My patients have been this week. What I mentioned, the powerlifter. He's in a really good phase right now. So I got him on like a 20 visit type of plan.
Nice.
Just to kind of see what's going on, because like when you start to mess with that much weight, especially even in rehab toward the back end of it all, it gets a little funky, right? We're going from training really hard to like really strict rehab to reintroduction to training. Sure. So where we are right now is that reintroduction to training. And he was like, I can lift? I'm like, oh yeah, go for it. And he was like, oh yeah, we're going to have so much fun. So I told his coach too, and we're having a blast right now. But going back to what I was saying with finding certain patterns and certain angles, or like how do you go down and how do you not, that was kind of what we were looking at week 1 or 2. I found a couple of things where he was kind of leaking energy, causing some pain, X, Y, and Z. So we've been patterning that back now up to this point. Now here's the fun part. He's a really smart athlete, so he actually does listen to his body. Hence why he came to see me. But I can tell. We
can't underemphasize or overemphasize that enough. You have to.
Yeah.
I tell real chime in, 16, 17-year-old females that I'm working with, I'm trying to educate them, teach them as well. Like, you listen to your body really well. Just keep doing that.
Yeah.
And when you're off to college, you're rowing somewhere across the world, like just remember, take care of you and pay attention. So it's the most important lesson we can teach athletes.
And in this case, I actually had to dumb it down for him just a tad, because he started analyzing it just a hair too much.
We get those.
Just a hair too much, which is, I understand why, just because like this sport matters to you. So you're looking for all the small little details to do everything. Those first couple weeks, we're kind of messing with squat width, toe angles. Are they like completely wide, completely closed? What was comfortable for his hip? X, Y, and Z. We found something that worked, right?
Nice.
And then this week, he didn't have a freak out moment, but it was like, what's going on here? Basically, he started to get some tightness in his low back, but no pain. And then I just asked him, wait, what's different this time? In those last couple weeks that we've been training, you haven't had any pain. What's been different? Coach had just given him more reps on certain things. So his training is a little different now. It's not that it was bad. It's just his body isn't acclimated to all the weight again. So
right.
He's kind of getting through all of it. But he wanted to start messing around with like toe angles and like, do I open it up to like 25 to 30 degrees at this point? And I told him, no. You've already patterned everything that you need to. If you want to mess around with like 5 more degrees, I don't care. But really from that point, you're fine. You have to get used to squatting again.
Where's he at in season? Or
he's ramping back up to a meet in September. So we have some time.
Okay. Yeah. Let's say if you're gonna do it, now's not a bad time.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't really recommend doing it.
Yeah. Because like you have to remember, like we went from changing his squat pattern like 15 weeks ago.
Right.
So now we're just reintroducing it, and he was working with singles and triples. Now he's doing 5s.
Ooh.
So part of it is the training that you need to go. You need to go through some of the volume, but
you do.
And then he said it didn't hurt until like the 5th rep, or he didn't feel a discomfort until the 5th rep. I'm like, okay, he's just undertrained. Now we're just getting back up to it.
I was thinking in my head, I'm always thinking like core. His core is weak. He needs to do more core endurance.
And that's really some of the rehab stuff that we've been giving him. Like, I just have to challenge you a little bit more just to be able to do 5 reps. Because 1 rep to 3 reps, fine, right? Yeah. Then to get to 5, there's a different type of stress on the body at that point, and you're starting to get tired. We just have to build that core up.
Yeah. So. And you're crossing over from training to competing.
Yeah.
Competing is a different animal.
Yeah.
So once you get past that, it's like, okay, now we have to cover more bases.
Yeah.
You know, I have a guy coming in today who just has a rower at home. He likes to row for exercise. He went to Harvard.
Yeah.
He just says that's part of Harvard. I guess they give you a rower when you get in. I don't know. But all joking aside, but he wanted to do it. But I'm teaching him how to row. It's far different than what these girls are going to be doing. So him is like, he might be doing a 2K once or twice a week.
Yeah.
That's it. He doesn't need to do much more.
Yeah.
But for your guys, like, I'm going to go compete. Not only because the competition could be, 6-7 hours long?
It's long. It's 9 lifts.
Yeah, so 9 lifts in one day is basically 9 1 rep max, like your personal best, you hope.
Yeah.
So you have to have endurance factors. So the rehab does take a little time.
Yeah. So this is the fun part where it kind of gets into like performance stuff. So like for him, although he's not going to be doing this specific motion, I realized we need to get him to a point where we're going to fatigue him just enough where it's like, I am working that hard in rehab. So I gave him farmer carries and kicked his butt a little bit.
I think, so Suko's carries was your one arm.
Yeah.
Farmer carries, both arms.
Yeah.
I think, and then alternating positions could be next to the Turkish get-up, one of the most underutilized exercises on the planet.
Yeah, there's something with like grip strength too that's correlated to overall health. And he's also working core with, unstable motions and also just like hip motions too whenever he's getting on a single leg. What was funny was we only did it for about like a minute out of breath. So it's like, that's where we're going.
Yeah. And it's actually, I think because it's Turkish get-up is pretty technical, but not. Like it's technical in understanding how to get from point A to point B, but not so much the entire thing. It's like it's pretty simple. Carries very simple, but there was an interesting technique. I'm going to share with everybody. I'm going to give away some free information right here. Stay tuned to this one. So one of the trainers of the Chargers was doing this, and I saw a lot of is it Friday? Okay. A lot of the linemen were doing this, and I saw everybody doing this. But they were carrying 75-pound kettlebells, 80-pound kettlebells, right, in one hand. And the other side, they had something they were squeezing between their armpit. And the reason was to counterbalance the tension.
So on the opposite,
opposite side. Neither did I. I was watching going, I'm stealing that for sure. I'm taking that one and claiming that one's mine. Just kidding. It's not mine. Somebody else thought this up. I don't know who win, but it's great. So they basically took some object, soft, of course, like a foam pad, stuck it between their armpit on the opposite side, carried with the opposite side. So left hand's got the weight, right hand's doing the squeeze. And when you do that, so I started playing with that, guess what? You're not leaning over. You're forcing your body to stay erect in this position because everything is tight.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so cool. Yeah. I think you mentioned that one time, but
I did mention it briefly, and I think we need to really play with that more.
So if you see this, I'm going to throw that at you.
Yeah, you're coming. It's coming all around. He's like, here you go. You're welcome. Thank us later. But that's the one thing I think I've prided myself on. I love this crew we have here at SHARC and that we're all lifetime learners. Like I've been doing this 21 years now. I don't know everything I don't know much at all.
Yeah.
I barely know stuff. So when I see something, I'm like, I need to play with that. And when I start playing with it, I was like, that just fixed the biggest problem.
Yeah.
The heavier the weight, more people just kind of lean over, lean away. It's like you're not really controlling that weight now using gravity, which is smart, but not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that really worked. So it was really good.
Yeah. And I like how it goes really counteractive about like if you're looking at it from a big lens, it's like, oh, I need to work the lat or something. I need to work the side oblique, right? So that actually brings me to another patient that I saw here. She was starting to struggle with like feeling the isolation on certain muscles. She likes bodybuilding and everything like that. She's not a professional bodybuilder, but she likes to do it for lifestyle.
It's a style. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Which is cool. There's nothing wrong with it.
No,
it's just there's other things we have to take into account here, right? So I'm going to say this, and I don't want people to take it the wrong way. Sometimes you won't feel the muscle working, but you are using it. We just have to get you reintroduced to it, right? It doesn't mean it's off. It doesn't mean that it's broken, right? It just means like, okay, one, the stimulus might not be enough, or two, you're just doing it kind of funky and you're not feeling it.
Got to figure it out. Yeah.
She was on the funky side, as in she's strong, as in I gave her leg extension holds, put 45 pounds on it, did a minute, no problem. Like, you're strong, right?
Yeah.
I find that a little difficult for some of my knee stuff right now, but I can do it too. I'm like, no, that's not easy. So to do it with 45 pounds, you're strong. However, I gave her some lateral motions to do. Broke apart.
Yeah, I'm starting to like lateral and rotation. It's amazing. Those are the biggest components of sport.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you're training for or training to do. And also the weakest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. So
yeah, so we just gave her some lateral stuff to do, and then with really body weight, not necessarily clamps, just the next iterations of holds and stuff like that. And she was like, oh yeah, this is hard. And her knee was dancing everywhere on a couple. For that exercise that I'm mentioning here, we don't want it to dance. We just want you to be able to feel rooted in everything else. And here's the fun part. After we did that, did a squat, no problem. She was having some problems with squats. So although we want you to pattern your squat really well, sometimes we have to get it in other ways. Like, what are you lacking in certain areas?
And remember, when they're both feet are on the ground, you can't guarantee you're pulling or pushing 50-50.
Yeah.
When one foot's on the ground, you have no choice. Especially like a Bulgarian. You just wreck people with that thing.
Yeah.
But you have a squat. I mean, I can't tell you people who shift like a good 10, 15 degrees on one side or the other to offload. It's like, well, that's the downside.
Yeah, it's always funny to like do reps on a squat, and if you have like a mirror in front of you and you're starting to get tired, because I'll go up, firstly, perfect. Beautiful, the way I want it to, especially pre-injury. And then 4, 5, 6, I see like this whole shake going on. I'm like,
going this way, forward and backward. Like it's rotate. You're like, what am I doing here?
I'll look at the mirror. My face is all red from bracing. I said, that was ugly. And then go back down again and do it again.
It's quite amazing how the body can do that. And that's the thing when people want to train and not recover, take care of themselves. They're thinking myself, train. But I'm like, those bad reps are going to sneak up on you. Yeah. And it's going to hurt.
Yep. They definitely can.
That was fun.
Yeah, so yeah, that's been this week of patience. So we both have everything from like the contagious ribs for whatever it is.
Yeah,
this
week. Cough going through my kids. That was great.
Yeah, and then just people just try to overthink the motion sometimes, where we have to dumb some stuff down, but also make it make sense for the person. Right?
And a lot of things with this, when it comes to overthinking, most of our cues are to let clients or patients know we need you to feel the pattern. You can't think it through. It's like trying to think about your liver working. You can't think your liver to work. It's just doing its thing. You have to feel the body. And if you can't connect, like when people grab my biggest pet peeve in lifters, oh my gosh. When they grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell and they're kind of barely grabbing it, and I'm like, you're not even connected to the weight. Grab the stupid thing. Like, grab it. And like, why? It's like, because you need tension through the body. You're not trying to snap it in half, but you want to have it so if I smack it, it doesn't fall out of your hand. And for safety reasons, that's also a really good job.
That's the big one, especially when it gets heavy.
Right? So that overthinking part, we have Wem, I'm coming in here in a little bit here, who's his 25-minute workout can sometimes take 55 minutes because it's question after question about what about this and shift this, and just like just feel it.
Just
so don't think about it.
This patient is me if I didn't have the education. As in like I think exactly the same way that he does, where it's like I should feel it here. I don't know if I'm feeling it here. Am I doing this right? So I should stop. Right? Sometimes the workout is supposed to be easy.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hard.
The stuff, especially with the functional rehab stuff that we'll give some people, it's not meant to kick your butt. A lot of the times. If it does kick your butt, there's other stuff that I have to work on. But a lot of the times you should feel like, hey, I just worked.
Challenged, but not a sweaty pool of blood, sweat, and tears.
If that's the case, that means your body has tried to figure out how to survive in other ways. And we're trying to address those things at that point. But I understand where he's coming from. That's how my brain works sometimes.
And stay tuned out there. We're going to have a blog and some comments about, we have like these 5 patterns you can find out about yourself when you're internalizing stress, not using your core and kind of holding your breath. But there's actually 5 things I found. I've been researching this for a while that are like the top 5 to shows you these things are happening.
That's interesting.
Because some people don't even know it. And I watch people, I mean, you've been with me for a while, you know me. I'm watching everything they do. And I mean, I've had people have a hand cramp doing a clam. because they were using their fist
To
as their stabilizer. And you're like, you just look at it like, how did your body get there?
Yeah.
And that's the most fascinating thing is these little compensation patterns and what do they do, but there's these little stress responses. And if you're overthinking it, you're in a stress response. That might be what that is. I'm going to think about that one too. That's interesting.
That's good.
All right, kids. That was fun.
Yep. I have nothing else to add here.
That's good.
Share this with your friends. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff.
Well, most importantly too, hopefully we can help. You can send this to them. If there's rowers out there, lifters out there, just wondering what's going on. Why is this happening? Send them video. Let them listen. It's really, we're meant to here to share and kind of inform people on these little things that can cost people a lot of money and time to go down these rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And it's really a simple fix. And I've seen some complex things that are the most simplistic fixes.
Yeah.
For example, your lady you just talked about.
Yeah.
You gave her single leg work. You moved her through it. She squatted. Pain gone. That seemed like a complex problem with a very simple answer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here to do. Inform, help, guide, consult, whatever we can do to help you guys out there. Plus, we love talking. I really love talking.
Yeah, he does.
So if you guys have any ideas, concepts, ideas, thoughts, whatever, throw them our way, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Dr. T.
And Dr. David.
We'll see you next time, guys.